When you were growing up and getting ready to leave the house after you graduated from high school, were you thinking about ways that you could improve your relationship with your parents? I don't think so. I know I wasn't. And it didn't seem like my parents were thinking about it either. My parents happened to be teen parents, and I think they were just looking to survive the process. They weren't looking to grow our relationship from raising me as a child to becoming an adult and having the adult relationship. And I think that happens in a lot of homes. Today, I would like to share with you 7 points to ponder to improve your relationship with your parent or your adult child. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mona Friday. I teach breathwork, emotional intelligence, and effective communication. So today I would like to share these 7 points to help you improve your relationship. And this is a way to promote respect, understanding in your relationship, being intentional, and also creating healthier interactions with your loved ones. So these 7 points are communicate with respect, acknowledge independence, set healthy boundaries, focus on shared values, apologize and forgive, create new traditions, and the 7th one, be open to growth. So I'd like to break these down and make them a little simpler for you and give you some examples from my own life. The first one is to communicate with respect. Now, with my children, this has been a good thing for us because I had a completely different relationship with my children than my parents had with me. I have been very intentional. When I was growing up, there were 6 of us kids, and I fell in the middle, and I eventually just wanted to get up and leave. You know, I was very independent, and I wanted to spread my wings and fly, and my parents didn't seem to be too against that, but I know when I joined the Army, my mom wasn't too happy because I was just going down to the recruiter's office just to see what they had to say, and I came back with a 6-year contract, and I was active duty, and she happened to have, you know, my 2 brothers were in the military as well. My younger brother was in the Army National Guard, and my older brother was in the Navy. So me joining the Army for 6 years right off the bat scared my mom, but she didn't say anything, and she didn't hold me back. She just, I think she said she'd miss me, but this was a long time ago. My dad, he said that at least you know what you'll be doing for the next 6 years. So it was good for our relationship, and I really think that's where my relationship with my parents started to grow, and where they saw me as an adult rather than a child. And that really changed our relationship, because I know with my dad, my relationship was not good growing up. And with my mom, you know, I always loved my mom, and but we weren't real close. We didn't do things to get together. We didn't have mother-daughter date times. We didn't do, I just don't recall anything like that. There was no intention in growing our relationship the way I tried to do with my daughter. And my daughter does an even better job with growing her relationship with her children. And I hope that we continue to grow from generation to generation. You know, that's always the hope. You want the next generation to do better than you did. So anyway, communicating with respect, number 1. That is talking with each other in a nice way, and you can be firm, It is important that you're not using any vulgar language, that you are using respectful words, and even being respectful of the time. For me, I like to say, let's schedule a time to talk about this particular topic if it's something serious. But when we're just talking day to day, it's just kind words. And also checking in with each other is a great way to be respectful, because I know a lot of people, and this is some of my clients, this is probably their number one issue with their adult child, is the adult child has moved out of the house and just does not communicate with them anymore. And they might send them a text to try to reach their adult child, but the child does not respond. They try to call, but the calls go to voicemail, and it's extremely frustrating. And I know that there are so many issues that we grow up with where we're just kind of bumping heads and we just never get past it. And oftentimes the adult child just can't wait to leave, and then they leave the parent behind. And what they really don't understand is the parent never got an instruction manual, so we don't know exactly how to parent our children. And for us in this day and age, we come from nuclear families. We don't have that long line of generations where we're living as a community with extended families, with aunts and uncles and grandparents to help raise the family. We don't have that anymore. That's a very rare thing. So we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, and we make mistakes. We make mistakes and we grow just like you're growing. Just as the toddler's learning to walk and eat on its own and all of these things, we as parents are learning to do the same. So it's so important to have that understanding that your parent was just trying their best. In most cases, there are some cases where the parent wasn't trying at all. And that's a sad thing. So the second one is to acknowledge independence. Now, my children are grown, and the way I acknowledge independence for them is I don't check in all the time. It is not my responsibility to be in their schedule, their daily schedule. I don't ask them, okay, what are you doing this week? And I write it all down and I put it in my calendar. That's none of my business. It's important, I think, if they're going out of town, just so that we can check up in case something happens, in case they didn't show up to wherever it was they were going. So we like to do that. With my kids, we do a lot of Snapchat, and we do a lot of talking through like Instagram, things like that, and Facebook. But we're not always on the phone calling each other. My daughter and I would do it a little bit more than my son and I. And, part of the independence as well, it's really different between the kids, male and female. My daughter, she talks with me more. We talk on the phone, we text, we send these emojis, heart emojis, kissy emojis, things like that. But I learned early on, my son, really was vocal about me not sending him little heart emojis and kissing emojis. His friends make fun of him, if he's got these kissy emojis from his mom. So, but he was kind about it. It goes back to number one, where he was communicating with respect that please do not send these types of texts to me. So I honored that. And number three is to set healthy boundaries. Now that's for both the parent and the adult child. And it is difficult, as I've shared before in the past, being the grown-up, or not the grown-up, we're all grown-ups, but being the parent and then to have your adult child set a boundary for you, that can be tough on the ego. But when you can just look at it and see, my daughter is trying to protect her family and set up the best schedule for themselves and run her household in a way that works best for her, then who am I to think that I can just drop in at any time and disrupt that schedule? My daughter and I are very different. I wish I were more like she is because she's very efficient. She's fast. She does all these things, boom, boom, boom. But I'm just kind of lost in my own mess. And I kind of wish she had been my parent and I could have learned from her. But that doesn't mean I can't learn from her now. And that's what I try to do. She is a great example. And so, with those healthy boundaries, again, respect is so important. So, respecting each other's boundaries, yes, but presenting them in a way that is respectful. You're going to end up having the other person respect your boundaries better if you offer them in a kind way. But if you just, set up the walls, it's like, nope, you're not coming in here, and never offer a time when you're going to be able to get together with your parent, then that can be really hurtful. So try to use your heart when you're setting boundaries, and you could possibly even have a conversation about that. So instead of number 4, let's talk about focusing on shared values. Now, this is a great way to not focus on fighting, focusing on things that the other person did that you're upset with. It is so important to look at your common values and discuss those and build a life around those common values. That can help build your relationship, because when you're looking at things that irritate you, that, oh, I live differently than my child does, so I'm right, they're wrong. That creates some tension, and a way to get the focus off of that negativity is to come back to those shared values. So in order to come back to shared values, you need to have a conversation about what your values are. So it's very important. You'd have to do this. This is what I teach my clients, that we do it independently. We're not doing this as a group activity yet. First, you figure out what your core values are. Then your adult child or the parent figures theirs out, and then you can come together and have a conversation about it. And that tends to go much better. So number 5 is to apologize and forgive. So when I had a conversation with my dad before he passed, and I thought it was extremely interesting, but he told me, and he was so innocent in saying this, but he said it never occurred to him to apologize to his children. And I wish I would have dug a little deeper on that comment. I think I was in shock, and I just responded in shock, like, oh, really? And I didn't dig deeper. But as I said earlier, parents are going through parenting for the first time, usually. Some raise their kids in waves. For me, my kids, they're 14 months apart, so they were just raised together and out the door at the same time. So I didn't have great role models. I was alone, really, and I had some friends who were going through similar things, but the thing is, I was working full-time and raising my kids, and I didn't have family around, and the friends that I had were kind of doing the same thing, so we were so busy just working and surviving and not really thinking so much about how do I grow my family, how do I grow our relationship and make it better. I wasn't really thinking that. I was just in a survival mode. And so even now, I apologize to my kids for things that I had done in the past, because, in my right mind and in retrospect, I would not have done certain things the way that I did. And I've apologized for them. And the fact of the matter is, I can't change the past or what I did. But what I've been doing is working on myself to make myself the best person that I can be, so that we can have a better now and a better future together. So that takes apologizing and forgiving myself, because again, like I said, I wasn't proud of every moment of my parenting life, and I've done my best to forgive myself for my past and my kids for the things that they've done, because we're all growing and we're all learning, and it's important that we don't hold that against each other, because you can't grow if you're holding a grudge. So let's move on to number 6, and that's creating new traditions. New traditions can bring us closer together. We can become a closer family. We can grow and have the new traditions. It's like oftentimes it's like, oh, this is the way mom always did it, so we have to do it this way. And I'm a big fan of Hallmark, and I was watching one of the shows yesterday, and it was some sugar plum Christmas thing. And the woman in the show, the main character, she wanted to have the Christmas exactly the way her mother had created it. And she created a rule, a list of rules to follow to create the perfect Christmas. Well, in doing so, she basically wrecked Christmas. And when she really kind of dissected why she was doing this, it was trying to be closer to her mom. And her mom had passed, and this was something that her mom had left for her. But that was a coping mechanism that her mother used to get through the holiday season. So look at trying to start new traditions. Why do you have the traditions that you have? Be open-minded. They don't have to be totally new traditions. They could be a hybrid, blend traditions. And try something new. If it doesn't work this year, try something else next year. Go back to the old stuff the next year. It doesn't matter, but just be open. And with that, the final one, number 7, is to be open to growth, to growing together as a parent and adult child, adult relationship. Now, you can do this in many ways. You can set up a time where you're talking with each other on a weekly basis. You can create a list of things where you have sticky points, those little prickly areas. You want to identify those and smooth those over. And you don't want to just sweep them under the rug. You want to fix them. Because if you don't fix them, they'll either grow and get worse, or they continue to be ignored, but they're packed down. And as I've said before, packing down emotions just creates illness. So we don't want to do that. So I encourage you also, and I invite you to come work with me, because I do specialize in helping adult children and their parents develop new relationships. We just clear out the old and we start with the new. Wouldn't you like to imagine, this is what I have done with my children, like with my daughter. My daughter has gotten to know, well, my son as well, gotten to know me through the eyes of my peers, through people who know me, and they've been able to have conversations with them to see me in a different light. They're not getting the parent version of me. They're actually seeing me as a person. So when you can do that, when you can, even as the child, to see your child as an adult and to see their accomplishments and their dreams and their goals and their plans as an adult, not this child that you're trying to mold, because you're not molding them anymore. Again, your role as a parent has changed. And to stay in their life, you have to be open, you have to be flexible. So again, if you're interested in working with me, I can help you redefine the parent-adult-child relationship and help you to have a much more fulfilling interaction and have it grow and get deeper and stronger, rather than having you guys continue to fight and pull apart. And that can just lead to so many ugly things, and we just don't want to go down that road. So again, we are coming to the close of 2024 and to start off 2025 strong, think about those 7 points to ponder. Again, let me just recap. Number 1 is to communicate with respect. 2, acknowledge independence. 3, set healthy boundaries. 4, focus on shared values. 5, apologize and forgive. 6, create new traditions. And 7, be open to growth. I hope this has been helpful. Until next time, I wish you peace, love, and happiness.